Yo guys, welcome to RenderRam. My name is Vieku and today we're gonna be talking shit about Macs. And so, don't get me wrong, I love Macs to death. I'm a hardcore Macs user. But, even in the most perfect relationships, there are always bumps on the road, So let's bump it up here now. I'm gonna be talking about 5 things in Macs that absolutely make no sense to me. Of course, if you find sense in any of these, please, write down in the comments. But other than that, please write down what are the things in Macs that don't make absolutely no sense to you. Whew, I think this is going to be a feisty comment section. Is it feisty the word? Feisty? Yeah, I think it is. Anyhow, so first thing that absolutely makes no sense in 3ds Max is when you create an object, when you go to your modifier list, you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you have this one, UVW mapping clear. So what does this modifier do? It removes a UV channel, right? I've actually seen people use this, but to me, it absolutely makes no sense. If you create a UVW map, you're overriding the previous UVs, meaning you don't have to clear anything before that because it gets clear. If you want to do an unwrap because your UVs are messed up, you're not speeding up unwrap or anything by clearing it before that. If you have a UV map channel that you do not plan to use and it served some sort of purpose, you just don't use it. Like, it's doing no harm to anyone. I even spoke to 3ds Max developer where I asked him, what's the purpose? Like, is there a purpose for this that I'm not aware of? And I laid out all my arguments and he pretty much said this. My personal opinion is that you're absolutely right. It makes no freaking sense on using this. My professional opinion is, let me check. So he checked and he came back with the info that this is a freaking dinosaur of a modifier that actually made sense 25 years ago when, you would have a GPU that had 8 megabytes of memory and this thing would actually free a couple of kilobytes of memory, from the GPU. And that way, people were optimizing things. 25 years later, why is that still here and why is it confusing people? Like, some people actually use this still to this day. Is just, one of 3ds Max's confusions. Next thing in Max that it makes sense. Don't get me wrong, it makes sense. People use it every day. I use it. It's not, but I'm just kind of baffled on how come it didn't progress over time. I'm talking about a dummy. So a dummy object is this. People use it for animations, for linking stuff. It has a lot of use cases. It's all creativity. But on the other hand, there is a point, and point was also here since, the age of dinosaurs. So look at this. If you create a point, right, you get pretty much a dummy with a couple of features. And if you, for example, turn off cross and turn on box, you get a dummy. Now, why is dummy here? I'm just kind of curious about what's the purpose of having 2 actual buttons when there's, a lot more other buttons that could be actually much more useful. But yeah, there is a dummy and I'm just curious on why this hasn't kind of developed or evolved over time. Next thing in Max that kind of, doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It's just weird that it wasn't updated after all these years of, Max existing. So when you create an object, if you go to the hierarchy tab here, and if you click on the link info, you got locks. So what do locks do? If you press all these, hold up, I'm just pressing all these together, okay? You are preventing object to be moved, scaled, rotated, etc. It locks the position, the rotation, the scale. But why on freaking earth do I always have to click each axis to kind of activate those features? Why cannot there be a button here that just locks it all? If I saw in the upcoming 3ds Max update that locks has a button to lock all the axes or just everything at once, I would actually be happy. So our next thing in Max that makes absolutely no sense is strokes. Have you ever used strokes in Max? Get this. So if you go to the utilities panel and you click on the more here and you got strokes here. Now, this opens up. So how does it work? This is pretty much like gestures in Max. You know that thing where you just like on your phone or somewhere where you swipe in a specific direction and then something happens. Swipe in another direction and then something else happens. Well, this is the attempt of that in 3ds Max, and this is how it works. You click on Draw Strokes and you just start a stroke like this. And he said, "Stroke not found." And you're like, okay, I want to define a stroke. And you say, for example, I wanted to do a line. You click OK. And then, you're working and you, I don't know, want to select your object, but you can't. So you have to turn off strokes, then select your object, then click Draw Strokes. And then you draw here and boom, you see the Align tool is activated. But the thing is, this is supposed to be like a fast movement, something that's going to speed you up. But get this, if I miss a little bit, stroke not found. So whatever you do, this grid will kind of appear, even if you make a larger stroke, look, this is going to appear, this, whatever. But now get this. I have defined my strokes. Let's say I'm happy with those strokes and what they did. Now look at this. I close that. So this is here. I couldn't find a way on how you can remove this. So yeah, I believe, strokes are also one of the, very, very old features in Max that, on paper, they probably had some potential. And the worst thing is, it actually could even have potential today, but, nobody ever updated it and it just stayed like this. And yeah, I don't know if you knew that strokes even existed, but yeah, Max has gestures, just so you know. And the last thing in Max that makes absolutely no sense, I mean, technically it does, but the name of that feature just makes you feel bad, makes you feel like a junior, makes you feel, like you don't know how to work properly. And that's the expert mode. So if you go to views here and you have an expert mode, look, it even has, like a shortcut, Alt-Control-X. So what happens when you click Alt-Control-X? Wait, hold up. I got the stroke thing here. Let me just reset my Max. Don't save. Okay. Wait, hold up. Reset. Yes. How do I remove these damn strokes? Okay, yeah. Fun feature. Anyhow, we got the expert mode. So in the expert mode, when you activate it, your Max looks like this. Cool, you got your timeline. People use this generally, to preview something for a client who just came into the studio, and they want to, look how some animation looks like or something. You just activate this. It just removes a lot of, unnecessary things. So I would rather call it a preview mode, like a viewport preview mode rather than expert mode. Because I remember 20 years ago, when I first when I saw expert mode, I was actually hoping that one day I'm going to be an expert and I'm going to be using expert mode. 20 years later, I guess I'm not an expert still. So yeah, it's just a stupid name. So yeah. Are any of you experts? Like, is anyone a dedicated expert that uses expert mode on a daily basis? Anyhow, what are the things that kind of annoy you in 3ds Max? Again, I'm just gonna say it again. I love 3ds Max to death. Don't get me wrong, but some things are just annoying. So write down in the comments what are the things that annoy you in 3ds Max, and see you in the next video. Bye.